Hi class, today we are on Saxon Math Book 3, Lesson 86, and we are going to be talking about division facts, some division vocabulary, and fact families with division. So, we're going to start with some vocabulary. These are the names of the numbers in a division problem. So we start with the dividend. The dividend is the math word for how many did we start with? What are we talking about here? In this example, we start with 20, so that is the dividend. The divisor is the number we're dividing by. So in this case, we say 20 divided by 5. Number we're dividing by is our divisor. Divisor sounds like, hey, number we're dividing by. And then quotient, this is perhaps the most important word for you to know, just like sum, product, difference. The quotient is what we call the answer to a division problem. So you're going to see all of these words in Saxon Math, but particularly quotient you need to know because you'll see problems that say, find the quotient of 28 and 7. And you need to know we're dividing to find the quotient, okay? But dividend, number we start with, divisor, number we divide by, quotient is our answer. So division is a little funny because we can write it more than one way. We can write it horizontally just like our other problems, but we don't write it vertically like we would say 20 times 5 and we'd write it up and down 20 times 5 here. We don't write division like that. We write it here, and I call this the house. We write it in a house. So the dividend, the number that we start with, goes inside the house. The divisor, the number we're dividing by, goes outside the house. And the quotient or the answer goes on top of the house. So something that my students often have trouble with is reading this correctly. When all you see are the numbers, they will tell me, oh, it's 5 divided by 20. No, that's not what we're doing here. We read the number inside the house first. So we say it's 20 divided by 5. In this case, equals 4, okay? Read the number in the house first, 20 divided by 5. Okay, so moving on, I want to compare division fact families to addition and subtraction fact families. So I've got a fact family on the board behind me. We did a ton with these at the beginning of the year. Remember we talked about the patterns in fact families, where the bigger number is either at the end of an addition problem or at the beginning of a subtraction problem. The bigger number goes at the end for addition, goes at the beginning for subtraction. So you guys are professionals at putting together addition and subtraction fact families. I'm going to show you how multiplication and division are the same thing. I'm just going to change my sign, and when I change my sign here, that's going to change the answer. Because we are no longer talking about addition and subtraction, we're talking multiplication, and then down here, division. So 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. Notice once again, this is still my bigger number. With a multiplication problem, biggest number goes at the end. If I flip-flop, instead of 4 times 6, if I flip it and say 6 times 4, it's still 24. So now what do you think the number at the beginning of my division problem is going to be? Did you say 24? You would be correct. And again, we can flip-flop the divisor and the quotient. We can say 24 divided by 6 is 4, or 24 divided by 4 is 6. So this is an example of a multiplication and division fact family. The numbers in the fact family are 4, 6, and 24. And it follows the same patterns as the addition and subtraction fact family. We flip-flop the factors in the multiplication problems. We flip-flop the divisor and the quotient in the division problems. The biggest number goes at the end of a multiplication problem. The biggest number goes at the beginning of a division problem. Okay, so in our examples, we are going to see division written a couple different ways. So the first example says find each quotient, and they wrote it, the first one like this for part A, and then the second one like that for part B. So we're just going to take this one at a time. I've got the 6 and 24 fact family behind me. So what is 24 divided by 6? It's 4. And then what is 24 divided by 4? It's 6. There's our first example. All right, our next example says write 2 multiplication facts and 2 division facts using the numbers 6, 7, and 42. So here's the numbers. Remember, find your biggest number. Your biggest number is going to go at the end of your multiplication problems. So then over here, we can just flip-flop the factors. We can do 6 times 7, and then we can do 7 times 6. And our biggest number is going to go at the beginning of the division problems. And then once again, we can flip-flop the numbers. We can do 42 divided by 6 and 42 divided by 7, and there's our fact family. The next example says write 2 multiplication facts and 2 division facts shown by this array. So here's the array. What do we have? So it's an array of stars, 2 multiplication facts, and 2 division facts shown by this array. So we know that array shows multiplication. We are going to do 3 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars each. So I have 3 times 5. I can just count by 5s. 5, 10, 15. So now I've got the numbers in my fact family. I don't really have to pay attention to the array anymore. I can just flip-flop my numbers. 5 times 3 is also going to be 15. And then for division, I need to take that big number and move it over to the beginning. So we have 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 15 divided by 5 is 3, and there's my fact family. Okay, the next example says find each missing factor. This is where it's really important for you to understand where does the big number go. So in my first example, I have 3 times something equals 18. 3 times something equals 18. It's a multiplication problem, so my big number goes at the end. I already have my biggest number. So now I can use division to figure out one of my small numbers. I could say, what is 18 divided by 3? Because I know division is going to give me a smaller number. If I know my facts, my multiplication facts, really good, it might be easier for me to just say, well, what do I have to multiply times 3 to get 18? And then you're going to say, oh, 6. 3 times 6 equals 18. Or I can finish this division problem and say 18 divided by 3 is equal to 6. If you need to draw a picture to figure this out, you can absolutely do that. At this point, you are working on memorizing your multiplication facts. Some of you might be there. Some of you still might need to see it. But feel free to draw a picture. When we get to the harder problems that aren't just our basic facts, we're not going to want to draw pictures. We don't want to draw 42 of any object several times. But with my easy facts here, it might help to draw a picture. The next one says m times 4 equals 36. Once again, it's a multiplication problem. So this is my biggest number. So I am not going to multiply these because that's going to give me a bigger number and I want a smaller number, which means I can divide. 36 divided by 4 will give me my answer. Or if I know my facts really well, I can just say, well, what is 4 times what is going to give me 36? Oh, it's 4 times 9. So m, here's how you write this in your textbook when you have your written practice. If they put a letter here, you write m is equal to 9. And that's what your answer should look like. M is equal to 9. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you to do your lesson practice. That can be found on page 467. I am also going to write them on my board here, and we will go over the answers momentarily. So we have 24 divided by 3, 18 divided by 3, 18 divided by 9, 8 divided by 2, 30 divided by 5, and F is 20 divided by 4. Okay? G says write 2 multiplication facts and 2 division facts using the numbers 56, 7, and 8. So you're writing a fact family using these numbers. Go ahead and pause the video, try those problems on your own, and when you've got the answers, come on back and we'll go over them together. Okay, so A, 24 divided by 3. I can think what number times 3 gives me 24, and that's a tough one. Kids often have a hard time memorizing this fact, so let's count by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So how many times did I have to count by 3 to get 24? 8 times. So 24 divided by 3 gives me 8. Problem B, we read it as 18 divided by 3 equals, we said 18 when we were counting by 3, do you remember? 18 divided by 3 equals 6. I'm going to circle my answers here so you can find them. 18 divided by 9. Oh, I've got that one. 9 plus 9 equals 18. So that's just 2 groups of 9. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 8 divided by 2, what number times 2 equals 8? I'm just finding half of that, so that'll be 4. 30 divided by 5. If you don't remember, you can count by 5s and see how many fingers it takes you to get to 30. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 20 divided by 4. What number times 4 equals 20? That would be 5. And then G, our fact family. I'm going to try to write it really small so I can fit them all here. Starting with my small numbers, 7 times 8 equals 56. I can just flip-flop my factors. 8 times 7 also equals 56. Now my division problems are going to start with the big number. So 56 divided by 7 equals 8. And then 56 divided by 8 equals 7. There we go. All right, boys and girls, it is time to start your written practice, which begins on page 468 of your textbook. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon.